The woman noticed something strange while driving. The car in front seemed to be deliberately giving her trouble. No matter how she sped up, the black car always stayed right in front of her. As the cars on the opposite lane drove past, Daisy seized the chance and hit the gas, trying to pass the black car ahead. But then something terrifying happened. The man actually kept the same speed as her, running right alongside her in the same line. What she never expected was, right at this moment, luckily Daisy managed to dodge in time, but what she never expected was, the man suddenly hit the gas and chased again. Could it be that the black car was in some kind of danger, and was deliberately giving her some kind of signal? Daisy thought it was better to stay out of trouble. So at the fork ahead, Daisy turned the wheel sharply and slipped away, taking a different road from that car. Only then did she finally breathe a sigh of relief. But later that night while refueling, something strange happened again. The black car appeared once more, as if it had always been following her. But luckily it did not stop to do anything to her. Only then did Daisy feel a bit of comfort. After a busy day she finally lay down. But looking at the photo with her husband on the phone, she still could not let go for a long time. It turned out not long ago, her husband had died in an accident. Daisy only then set aside her grief to go on a trip. But this trip was destined not to go smoothly. The next day she prepared to set off as usual. But just as she started the car, a stranger suddenly came up to greet her. Daisy really could not remember who he was. But the man introduced himself, saying he was the owner of the black car yesterday. And he even apologized for yesterday, claiming he did not notice Daisy, and facing the friendly stranger before her. Daisy also told him the destination of her trip, but she never thought it was this act. That would make her journey a nightmare. After a bit of talking, the man waved goodbye and left first, and Daisy kept driving on her trip. But on the road she felt more and more uneasy. A quiet and uneasy atmosphere gradually surrounded Daisy, and sure enough not long after, she saw that familiar car again ahead. The repeated encounters made Daisy nervous. Just as she decided to take the chance to leave, the man blocked the road in front. Daisy was helpless at this point. The man said his car broke down, and asked Daisy to get out and help drive, while he pushed from behind. Hearing she had to get out, Daisy quickly refused, saying she could help find rescue, but the man refused firmly. He said he did not want to bother the police. This strange response from the man made Daisy realize there was danger. She ignored his request, kept driving while making excuses, and quickly left the dangerous road. But could things really be that simple? That night Daisy rested by the roadside, but the black car appeared again. Daisy's heart jumped to her throat. Could the man be here for revenge? She quickly hurried away, no longer caring about him calling behind her. Daisy floored the gas to escape fast, but not far down the road. She happened to be blocked by a white car at the intersection, and the man behind her took the chance to catch up.
I was just trying to go to the bathroom and you almost hit me. What the hell's your problem?
No matter what the man said, Daisy dared not respond. She quickly hit the gas and sped off. In just 2 days they had run into each other 5 times. How could that be coincidence? Daisy drove through the night with unease, and also called for help. After all, no one knew what might happen next, but the phone signal kept cutting out. While she repeated herself, another car appeared behind her, and its speed was getting faster. Daisy knew she was about to be in danger. Luckily it was not that familiar car. Daisy finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed she really had been overthinking, but right after she gave up seeking help, the car suddenly lost control. The steering would not respond at all. No matter how Daisy held the wheel, the car still fell into a roadside ditch. It seemed even without the stranger's danger, she was still in trouble. Daisy checked with a flashlight, and finally saw the problem with the tire. It had been slashed with a huge cut. Unease grew in Daisy's heart, and at that moment headlights lit up behind her. Daisy panicked again. She knew it was already too late. The only way to be safe was hiding back in the car, but the man was already coming with a weapon. This time the man finally dropped the act, and sat right in the car, then used a sedative, and knocked Daisy out. The next day, when Daisy woke up again, she was locked in a basement, and the window was reinforced with steel bars. It was obvious the man planned it all. Panicked Daisy rushed to the door, but looking out she saw no useful information. But just as she was helpless, voices came from outside the window. She rushed up and cried for help, but what came was a familiar face. At that moment Daisy realized she might be trapped deep in the mountains, but how could she save herself now? She waited until night. The man finally opened opened the door, and Daisy only dared to curl in the corner. She knew that even if she screamed, no one could hear her now. As the man walked toward her without expression, Daisy understood what he wanted. She hoped he would say a number, but she still underestimated him. Facing the request that every man would make, Daisy tried to resist, but was still kept in the basement. The man even took Daisy's tablet, looking through her old photos, constantly insulting her dead husband. Daisy's heart was tormented, and she spent the night in pain. The next day, Daisy woke up in despair. She walked to the door again. This time she finally noticed something. The key was actually in the keyhole. She immediately thought of a way. She put her coat outside the door to catch the key. Then she saw a nail nearby. She used her clothes with all her strength, and pulled the nail out. This way she could push out the key, and sure enough it worked. Daisy quickly unlocked the door, and walked out of the dark basement. But after only a few steps, the man happened to return. She quickly hid in the cabinet, watching his every move. The man had no idea, and calmly ate breakfast. After a while his phone rang. Daisy then learned he had a wife and daughter, and he even said, after the deal he would go home to see his daughter. That meant she was probably going to be sold. Why else would he mention a deal? The more Daisy thought about it, the more terrified she became. Soon after he hung up, and was about to go down to the basement. It was the perfect chance to escape. Daisy quickly grabbed the moment he turned his head, and escaped from the cabinet. She did manage to escape, but just as she thought, she was deep in the mountains. The man heard the noise, and quickly chased after Daisy. But while running for her life, Daisy stepped on a branch and hurt her foot. The man was closing in. She could only endure the pain and pull it out. But even though Daisy was so miserable, the man still would not let her go, until he forced her to a small river. Looking at the man giving her no way back, Daisy knew she could only move forward, so she jumped into the river, and let the rapid water carry her away. But luckily soon she reached the shore. But her danger was not only the man. Her foot was injured. Even one step was difficult. As she struggled forward, she seemed to hear something. There was no one in this wilderness. Could it be the man had caught up? So she quickly hid behind a tree. Because of the sudden appearance of a mysterious man, Daisy felt like she found a savior, and told him everything she had been through. The man's eyes showed doubt, but seeing Daisy badly hurt, he still followed with a weapon, deciding to help Daisy leave here. But after driving for a while, a big tree blocked the road. Seeing the way blocked, Daisy broke down. She knew the man did this, so she asked the man to move the tree with her, but their strength was not enough. At that moment in the distance, that familiar car appeared again. Daisy panicked instantly, but luckily the man stood in front of her. But the stranger seemed very calm, claiming he was Daisy's brother, and that Daisy was unstable, because her husband had just died. He even thanked the man for helping. Daisy quickly explained to him, but the stranger's convincing act fooled the clueless man. In no time he acted like a brother, comforting his mentally ill sister. But Daisy desperately explained, and begged him to check the stranger's phone. Then Daisy seized the chance and broke free. The man also sensed something was wrong, and tried to stop him. The stranger still tried to pretend, but the man insisted he show his phone. Daisy shouted desperately, but the man had already seen his face. The stranger would not let him go. Rain began to fall. Daisy hid through the night. The man never stopped searching, until Daisy hid behind a rock from the rain, and he saw a trace of her. Daisy held her breath silently. Only when the flashlight went dark, did she dare move. Luckily he thought it was just an animal, and was not sure it was Daisy. That gave her a chance to hide, but since he had found signs, how could he leave? Daisy was forced to hide underwater, while he kept persuading her to come out and fight. And to convince her, he put down his weapon, for a fair fight. But Daisy knew very well, wounded she was no match for him, so no matter how he tried to force her out, Daisy did not move at all. Finally he thought he was mistaken, and turned away. Only then did Daisy crawl out of the water. The next day she woke by a tree, but more escape awaited her. While she wandered in the woods, she saw the man passing by. She crept closer and saw he was burying the man from before. So while he left the car, Daisy climbed in carefully, but after searching she found no keys. She only found his phone, and right then, the man came back. Daisy had to hide behind the seat. Luckily when he got back, he noticed nothing strange. Not long after Daisy picked up the phone, using the sound of the engine, she whispered her location, but the police could not hear clearly. Right then the man noticed something wrong. He hit the brakes, and could not find his phone anywhere. He happened to look in the mirror. Daisy knew she had been discovered. They started fighting. The man held the wheel but was at a disadvantage, and Daisy had more room to move. But the violent struggle made the car lose control, and it flipped on the roadside. Half an hour later, Daisy woke up from a coma, and then heard a helicopter overhead. Her call for help had been answered, but Daisy had no strength to cry out. The helicopter passed her by. When she regained some strength, she kept running far away. The man also woke up. When Daisy reached a clearing, waiting for rescue, she sensed the man was close, so she grabbed his phone and called his home, telling everything he had done. When the man rushed out of the woods, he realized his family image was ruined. Daisy kept provoking him, because now she had the confidence to fight. After all, the man was injured too. Soon they faced each other and started a fierce fight. At first Daisy was very brave, but the man still had strength. In the end, Daisy won the fight, and the nightmare ended with the arrival of the helicopter.